Hey YouTube, how you doing? Matt here, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to play John Mayer's new song called In the Neighborhood. So last night he just teased another new song, so this is like his third one he's teased, and we're hoping for the new album this year. Us big fans, we're all over this new stuff. But this song is not too bad. It's got three little parts to it. You got the intro verse are the same, you got chorus going on, you got this big strumming outro. And it's just, a sweet little simple song he's got, and I took some time to learn how it goes. This is my take on it. I did my best to try to figure out. It's so hard to hear some of those bass notes when just the way that the pickup is with the DI, and but I think you guys have enough to figure out how to play it, and yeah, we'll get right into it. Okay, so starting off here, we got capo on the 2nd fret. So we're gonna go over the intro and the verse. So the chords he has going on, these are like some triad pieces, and he has like an E major kind of going, and he just kind of, he's drawing this melody through it, and he's just singing over it. Nothing too complicated. He's got a little bit of like a weird little picking pattern going on. But once you get used to it, it's pretty intuitive. So the chords are the first part of the song. So the intro and the verse, he's taking these triads. This is not relative to the capo. This is generally just triad speaking here. So we got like an F sharp kind of, like an F sharp kind of triad here. Then we got this E triad, and then we have an E major with the capo, but would be F sharp major. But he's not using those full chords. He's just picking pieces of it. So the first part, he has the G string on the 4th fret and the high E string on the 4th fret. That's the first chord you're going to be using. Second chord, you're going to be sliding that right down, slide down 2 frets. Same shape there. And the next chord is very similar. You're just taking this piece of it. You're just holding down the B string on the 4th fret. And then you're going to move that same thing down to the 2nd fret. And again, you're going to be ending on the E major. I kind of noticed that when he's playing it, I couldn't really tell if he's actually playing the full E, but you at least see him playing this piece here. So those are the chords for the intro and the verse. All right, so now we're gonna go over the intro and the verse and how it actually goes, now that we have all the chords. So the first part, we're gonna have this chord that I showed you, this F sharp part, and I'll just show you guys the strumming pattern first before we get into it. So the strumming pattern is generally the same, minus one little part I'll show you. So we have our chord, and we're gonna pluck the low E and the G string together. And right after, you're gonna hit the high E and the open B. And I generally play with just these three fingers. I find it a little bit more difficult to play with my ring. I'm not as fluent, but whatever works for you. So yeah, so pluck these two, and then hit the high E and the high E and then the open B. And right after, you're gonna hit the bass. Let's just loop that a little bit, nice and slow. Get used to hitting that bass. It feels a little weird at first, but it makes the song and it adds that kind of folk and eerie kind of feeling to it. So right after you're gonna hit that, you're just gonna finish it off with just, that's the last part of the song, last part of the loop. So I'll loop it a little more. You're gonna slide that same shape down 2 frets. This is where it gets a little different. This part's a little bit shorter. It's just so plucking the fretted B and the open E together, and then just hitting the high E and the B again. So slide down 2 frets, and then you're gonna have this E shape here, and you're playing the same pattern as before. So that's the whole intro, and then that turns into the verse, which he sings over. Okay, so everything stays the same in the song so far, but there's one little kind of interlude part he does, and he kind of hums over it, and he's just playing these chords here. So I play mine like this. I just put my thumb over the bass here on the 4th fret, and then I just make an A shape on the bottom part and bar it. So he plays that chord, and then he slides that down there, and he just does kind of the same pattern. So. That's kind of he loops, and he's like, and then back in. So nice little note if you want to add that and keep the authenticity of the song. So keep that in mind. All right, so after a few verses, we finally get ourselves to the chorus. So I'm gonna go over the chords quick before I go over the structure. So the first chord, we got this F kind of dominant something. It's like a weird John Mayer chord that he uses a lot. I see him use a lot in the Room for Squares album, if you've taken a look at that. Next, we got a C sharp minor 7. It's the 4th fret here, using that 6th. Next, we got kind of like an F sharp, kind of something, like A something. So it's the same kind of chord I showed you before. Your thumb on top there, and then we got just a B. And then the last chord is a G sharp minor, I mean. So, all right, so now we have all the chords. I'll get into the structure. So it has this kind of pattern, and I'll just show you with one of the chords first. So it's like very, very similar. It's pretty much like the same thing I showed you before from the intro and verse part. So it's kind of reminds me of Emoji of a Wave, that kind of feel to it. So you play that loop, or that you play that pattern twice, so twice per chord. Then you move to the next chord, which is a C sharp minor, C sharp minor, A, and F sharp bass, B, G sharp minor, C sharp minor, A with F sharp bass, B, back in. All right, so the things remain the same for most of the song there. So it's about halfway through, and he plays the verse, he sings over that loop I showed you, he plays over those chords for the chorus, sings over that. But after the second chorus, he comes out of it, and this is where kind of the pattern starts to change. And there, it looks like he's kind of improvising, and he does this kind of like bridge that gaps into like this big outro where he switches into his pick, and there's a lot of strumming. I can kind of give you the gist of what's going on. I'm not quite sure 100%. Like I said, he's just improvising, he's on the fly. So coming out of the chorus, so he's back into that loop. But I notice he doesn't play the E here. He just goes back into this chord. And this is where things get different. He switches into this A minor on the 5th fret. So he does that once, coming out of the chorus, and then he does that loop again. Then back into the same thing. This is where he switches from his fingers to the pick, and you can clearly see him do that. Mayer plays it between his pointer finger and his middle finger. It's a great skill to pick up if you haven't got into it yet. It's a great way to express yourself on the guitar. So he plays a, you see him switch in, and then he kind of does this open E and mutes it right away. You kind of hear that, some sort of like mute to, you know, bring the rhythm down, and then he plays this little lick, and it sounds like it's muted. And then I kind of hear him he's riffing and get into this big open outro, and it sounds like he plays the B, then the A, then the E. And he's just riffing on this like kind of key over here. He's like, we get into this big outro here part, and he's just kind of, he plays three parts of this, so you hear it, 2, 3, and then he goes into this 2, 3. And that's where the outro kind of comes in. He's really singing, he's really belting. He brought it down and he brought it back up, and it's just a really cool technique to learn, and that's kind of what I noticed how he ends the song, and then the way he ends it is like nice and slow, and it's really wholesome. All right, so that's the whole song right there. That's all the parts. We had the intro, we had the verse, we had the chorus, we had the little bridge that gaps in, and then we had that big outro. So I hope this really helped, guys. I did my best to try to figure out how he plays this. I always try to learn my songs as authentic and as accurate as possible to the artist. So, you know, in the future, maybe when the album releases, if we get that this year, more tutorials and more information will be out about the songs. But for now, I think you guys have enough to make your own covers and, you know, put your own spin on it. So I'm hoping to get my own cover out here. It's tough with school and everything going on in life, but I'm gonna try my best to get the cover out for this song. I really, really like this one. Out of all 3 songs that I heard this year that he's released and teased, like this one by far just spoke to me the most. It just had a nice little folk feel to it, and it just has some old John Mayer in there and a little new, and I really liked it. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, guys. I'm so close to 100 subscribers, and I'm really trying to grow my channel this year as I finish up school and I have more time on my hands. I'm hoping to put out more covers, more tutorials, and just a lot more stuff out there to help everyone and just stay in the loop with all the John Mayer stuff come out this year. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and goodbye.